maybe I've been here too long, but I'm not very hopeful about the future here either.
A sobering assessment 10 years on. When Canada joined the mission in Afghanistan, women's rights were a significant part of the justification. Under the oppressive Taliban regime, women had few freedoms. They could not leave their homes alone. Girls didn't go to school. Now, Canada's mission is beginning to draw down, and in tonight's installment of Afghanistan What's Next, Susan Ormiston looks at life today through the eyes of two women who have seen some change, but wonder, is it enough?
Women here tell a different kind of war story. A war against abuse and abandonment. This is the story of two women, both named Parween, each fighting their own war and winning modest gains. But will they last? This is the land right here. Can you show me inside? It doesn't look like much. Half a house on a hill outside Kabul. Did you build this? But Parween Gul and her kids built this by hand. This is her land, but she had to fight for it when the village commander and his thugs tried to take it for themselves.
It was just me, my son, and my daughter. I saw those boys had knives, and they had some other weapons with them. What I did, I picked up the shovel and I started fighting them.
What did the men do when you started to fight back?
They were beating my son, they were beating my daughter, and they were beating me too.
After they beat you, why didn't you give up?
I became angry too, and then I caught one of them and I beat him, and I tore his clothes from the top to the bottom. He had weapons, but I wasn't scared. No, I wasn't scared.
Fighting back would have been unthinkable a few years ago. Parween's poor. Her husband deserted her and her 7 children. She lives in a relative's house, but once a week, women in this village have been going to a shura, a women's gathering, to learn about their rights.
Salam alaikum,
A program sponsored by Jennifer Rowell's team at Care Canada.
Oh, it's warm.
It's all because of the Shura. We learned some stuff, some knowledge.
Are you and the women around you, do you feel powerful now?
Yes, we feel strong. And now I don't have any fear of any commander. Even I don't have any fear of Karzai. We can fight against him for my rights.
Parween's neighbor, Friba Manafi, goes to the Shura too. She was married at 13, then abused by her husband's family. You have scars on your arm. What are they from? To fill a lamp. She says her brother-in-law gave her petrol deliberately instead of diesel. It exploded.
Everything started to burn, and then my hand was on fire. And behind me, I saw my son. He was on fire too. My hand was okay, but my son died in the fire.
Violence against women is still common. This video, taken a few months ago, shows a woman being stoned to death for alleged adultery. Fundamentalists still exert their influence. But pushing back are groups like these women, wearing blue and marching bravely for peace on International Women's Day, for the first time protected by Afghan police. There are modest gains, but as these women walk for peace, they worry about what that would mean as the Karzai government tries to negotiate a peace process with its enemies. The fear is that women's rights will be traded away, a bargaining chip less important than an overall political deal. Jennifer Rowell believes that still women are too dispensable.
I'm worried about the fast retreat of the international community here. I fear that the gains that have been made over the last 10 years will be lost if the retreat is too fast. If women's rights get played away at the negotiating table with the insurgents, which is very, very possible. And a lot of the women around us would agree that that is a fear that they have. We could be seeing a return to some pretty troubling times, some pretty terrifying times.
In conservative Kandahar, women have further to go. Nearly all of them wear a burqa, as I do for my own safety. This is the home of another Parween, a woman I first met back in 2009. She's not educated, but she works outside the home, and her 6 kids go to school, even the girls.
Right now, I'm constantly in argument with my husband, my brothers, my family and friends who constantly encourage me to pull the girls out of school. And sometimes even the girls get afraid. But I tell them to put a big, heavy stone on their hearts and continue going.
Small steps and tiny stitches. Parween works at a co-op for women called Kandahar Treasure. They embroider textiles and embrace the counseling they get in a sewing circle.
I can say that, yes, my husband has changed. I'm able to come out and meet with men or go and travel, and he's okay with that. So that is change that I've seen in my life, and hopefully other men will change too. But men have to change. They cannot be stuck in their backward thinking all their life.
Parween's mentor is Rangina Hamidi. She's an Afghan American who returned to Kandahar to create opportunities for women. That was 8 years ago. The ongoing war and violence has tempered her optimism.
I haven't seen improvement. I'm not, maybe I've been here too long, but I'm not very hopeful about the future here either.
Rangina is a mother now with less tolerance for the risks of living in Kandahar.
I want to leave, I have to leave. My mind says to leave because that seems to be the right thing to do. But my heart is still here, I'm still Afghan.
Progress can't come without peace. And women here are praying for both. Parween's daughter wrote this peace poem in school.
Peace is good, peace is development, peace is education. We want to live in peace. There's just hope that this phase will also pass and the future will be brighter for them, and with the education they'll have a better and a much more successful life than
now. Susan Ormiston, CBC News, Kandahar.
So the hope is real, but so too is the fear and the harsh reality of a woman's life in vast areas of the country under the influence of the Taliban. Now, there have been improvements over the past decade. Afghanistan's Minister for Women's Affairs says 57% of girls now go to school. 24% of health workers are women, and 10% of the judiciary is female. But activists point out those numbers are skewed to the cities, and healthcare and social freedoms remain unavailable to women in poverty-stricken rural areas, exactly where the Taliban is still strong.